What is going on, guys? It is the one and only Who That Davis here for you. And as always, if you guys don't know, you will know that over here we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. And I bet you guys didn't expect to see my dumbass back here on a live stream. But today is an exception because we just got some heartbreaking news. As always, if you guys appreciate this content, make sure you hit that like button down below. You hit that share button. You hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss a single moment on when your boy goes live with content. With news like this, I felt just posting about it on the community tab wasn't enough. I had to come back on live, so I had to renew my subscription to Melon app just this one time, so I can come here and talk about what I want to talk about, what I need to talk about with what it means going forward with the New Orleans Saints, because this is something that just cannot be expressed with just talking about on the community tab. All right, it just can't. For those of you who don't know what's going on yet, if you guys haven't seen the latest news on Twitter, or if you haven't checked the Saints official YouTube channel or Facebook or wherever you are, if you're not checking Saints media, you're gonna want to buckle up for this, or you just read this down below. Read down below. Sean Payton, head coach for the New Orleans Saints, has announced he is officially stepping down from his head coaching duties as of 2022. He is officially stepping away from the New Orleans Saints and from just coaching in the NFL, which means the Saints are going to be not only without Drew Brees, but they have now lost their Hall of Fame head coach now in officially back-to-back seasons. The Saints are in a really, really tough spot now. And I want to, before I get into what it means for the Saints and the team as a whole, including what it means for the NFL, the NFC South, I want to start off by saying thank you, Sean Payton, for everything you brought not only to this team, this favorite team of mine, but to the city of New Orleans and the state of Louisiana. Everybody who was a part of Hurricane Katrina, whether they're still there in Louisiana / New Orleans or they moved on to greener pastures, but were there during the time Hurricane Katrina hit, you know it was a really dark time for everybody on the coast. People were sleeping outside of the Superdome, outside of shelters, just trying to find ways to survive. The Superdome was in a massive wreck, was in a massive state of unrecognizable tatters. It was absolutely god awful. The city of New Orleans was losing hope in every facet possible. But the Saints team was a team that gave that city hope. It gave the state hope. It gave many fans a lot of reason to just try and hope. And Sean Payton, when he came here to the Saints in 2006, I was only 9 years old at the time, so I didn't even know how big of an impact this was, right? I was still just a kid. I was 8 years old when Hurricane Katrina hit back in 2005, right? And then 2006 came, and man, I didn't even know what was going on, right? I was just hoping and praying that everything went back to normal. I remember staying outside of my house when my house / trailer was still standing. So probably a couple of tiles from the roof came off. Some trees around us were cut in half, if not bent sorely over. Our lawn was a wreck. Our side lawn, our backyard, our front yard, the spot where we played, it was a wreck. Everything except that house was fine. We didn't have any power in the neighborhood. I remember just sitting there with the power on and with a generator curse from my uncle, just watching a good old dinosaur movie, a kid's dinosaur movie way back when, during the time of Katrina, just watching in the middle of the room with my two brothers and my two cousins. And it was just a tough time for all of us. But I didn't know how serious it was during that time. And then I saw one night a shooting star when all of us were sitting out on our front porch. And I wish with everything in me that I hoped everything would go back to normal. That's what I wish for. And then news came out not long after that Sean Payton was announced as head coach for the New Orleans Saints. He brought in Drew Brees. Little did I know that was going to make for a very, very fun Saints era, because man, oh man, was it fun. I remember the first time I really got invested into watching Saints football, not only even before the Super Bowl, right? The first year of Sean Payton as a head coach, he took the team to an NFC championship. And then after that, he had a little bit of a slump. And in 2009, that's magical Super Bowl run that revitalized the city of New Orleans and the Gulf Coast as a whole. I was still in Gulfport at the time, born and raised. I will forever be a Gulfport man. But it brought so much joy and so much relief to the Gulf Coast, especially the city of New Orleans that had next to nothing left to hope for, to pray for. Sean Payton and Drew Brees delivered in the most heartfelt and most amazing way possible for everybody who just needed something to cling to when everything just seemed like it was going to be washed away by the tide that was Hurricane Katrina. And then I started getting into the analytical side of Saints football after the divisional round to the San Francisco 49ers. Man, what a time that was. Me and my grandmother were jumping for joy when Jimmy Graham caught that go-ahead touchdown by Drew Brees. My uncle was still alive at the time. He wasn't much of a Saints fan, but man, was it fun. I was jumping for joy. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. And then the heartbreak hit. San Francisco got a game-winning touchdown late in the fourth with seconds to go. I was sitting there on my living room couch. The living room couch, just in there. I was sitting in there, and I was just devastated. I had no words. I was sitting there like I was in a casket, just looking up at the ceiling. I had no words at all, whatsoever. That's when I knew I was a Saints fan for life. And that moment, when that pain hit my chest, I knew that I was forever a Saints fan. And then the entire drought hit, right? From 2014 to 2015 and 2016, those 7-9 years, the worst defense in the league at that time, but we still had a really potent offense. Those were times where I just didn't know what to expect anymore, right? I just went on about my business. I watched Saints games. And then here comes Dennis Allen in 2015. Little did I know at that time too, Dennis Allen was going to be responsible for the revitalization of the Saints defense. And now we all get to where the 2017 NFL draft, which really was a cornerstone of the Saints getting their get back into the NFL as one of the top teams. The NFL's best draft class, honestly, in the last decade, right? Because everyone that's a Saints fan that was a Saints player in 2017 has made impacts, whether they're still on the team or they've moved on to other pastures. From Alvin Kamara to Trey Hendrickson, who had, I believe, 15 and a half sacks, who's now with the Cincinnati Bengals. He's on his way to an AFC championship. To Von Bell, to who else? To Ryan Ramczyk, who's still on the team. He got a massive deal. Like, even Muhammad, it was a late round pick for the Saints. He's doing some good things over with the Indianapolis Colts. The Saints 2017 class was legendary in many, many ways, and it really helped solidify the fact that the Saints are officially back as a top contending team in the NFL, and they went on to the divisional round against the Minnesota Vikings. And once more, we've got heartbreak, right? We got heartbreak with, I would say, the Minnesota Miracle that should have never happened. Marcus Williams, another 2017 cornerstone piece. I forgot Marcus Williams. I hope Marcus Williams gets paid because I don't want that man going anywhere. But we'll get to that all in a second. Marcus Williams, that colossal mistake that really paid, that really showed his rear head. And then 2018, right? That was supposed to be our year. And in many ways, it should have. The Saints were arguably the best offense in the league that year. They were scoring over 32 points per game. They had an above average, close to an elite defense of that year, where Marcus Davenport showing flashes of being an instant impact guy, to the defense of consisting of Alex Okafor, Alex Anzalone, who was another good piece of 2017 for at least his rookie year, in his first 2 years, mind you. He's now with the Detroit Lions. Alex Anzalone alongside Demario Davis, who was coming to the Saints in his first year. He was instant impact. They did everything right that year, and that should have been our Super Bowl. I don't care what anybody has to say. That should have been our Super Bowl. If man, I don't care if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. If you're a Saints fan, you're going to remember 2018 for the rest of your life. Yeah, that's the one that definitely got away. I don't care how many Super Bowls the Saints win in the future. It could be 2 Super Bowls. It could be 5 Super Bowls. Hell, for just for sake of argument, the Saints could be the most accomplished NFL team with the most Super Bowls in NFL history. But that 2018 year, that magical year with Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, boom and zoom, right? That's a year that everyone who is a Saints fan is going to remember for the rest of their lives, if they were a part of that experience. And for good reason. That was our year. I can't stress that enough. And at that point, everything after that just felt like it was just meh. Like that was the biggest heartbreak of not only just the entire Saints fans lifetime watching this team, but personally for me, because everything after that's like nothing is going to hurt more than what transpired in that championship game. Nothing. Even in 2019, when the Saints were still very much dominant and they lost in the wildcard round to the Minnesota Vikings, that wasn't nearly as bad. I still ranted about it. I still said my piece about it, but it didn't hurt as bad. Or even 2020 when they lost to the Buccaneers in the 2020 divisional round, right? I never said anything about it as bad because that 2018 one is going to sting. It's going to forever sting. But we wouldn't even be in those situations without Sean Payton. To everybody that was saying that they want Sean Payton off this team, that they wanted Sean Payton gone from this team because of his suspect play calling, because he overthinks things. You are going to learn real quick that you should be careful what you wish for. Because you got your wish. Congratulations. You got what you wanted. Sean Payton is no longer with the team. Now you're going to see just how important he was. If you don't remember those 2014 or 2016 years, you're in for a rude awakening. You're in for a rude awakening. And to anybody else that's looking outside the Saints fan base, is saying we're going back to poverty, going and this and that. I want to ask you something. Especially the people that say this, Sean Payton has always been trash or Drew Brees has always been trash, so on and so forth. If you want to say all that, why is it that these people that you put down so much are probably the most sought after athletes or coaches? One of the most sought out, I would say, one of the most sought out coaches and most sought out players and on this side of the NFC. Why are they so sought after? Like, let's take Sean Payton, for example. Everybody wants to dog Sean Payton to say he's an overrated coach or he's nothing without Drew Brees. If your team, let's say for sake of argument, the Dallas Cowboys have been associated with the name of Sean Payton for years now. And I wrote a piece on this on League of Justice. So check out League of Justice at the Dats Davis exclusive column. Check that out. I wrote a piece about the Dallas Cowboys being associated with Sean Payton's name for years. Cowboys fans have always told us, and especially me, that Sean Payton is overrated. Sean Payton will never win another Super Bowl because he doesn't have Drew Brees. If you're going to make that argument, why is it that whenever Sean Payton is talked about to be potentially the next head coach for the Dallas Cowboys, everybody is wanting to accept it with open arms? Why? If he's such an overrated head coach, why do y'all want him so bad? Why do y'all want Sean Payton so bad if he's overrated? Or let's say, for the sake of argument, Dennis Allen. Some people say Dennis Allen isn't going to make it as a head coach. But yet the media and other teams that have Dennis Allen's name in their mouths, they would kill to have someone like Dennis Allen on their team because of what he's done for the Saints defense as a whole. And when he stepped in as the interim head coach when Sean Payton was out with COVID, he shut out Tom Brady led Buccaneers at a score of 9-0. 9-0. He shut out Tom Brady as an interim head coach. Y'all would kill, y'all would love, y'all would die to have someone like Dennis Allen on your team, but you say he's overrated. Or Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas was the only, I would say, the only wide receiver, I would say, the last decade. I might be wrong here. This may be an exaggeration. But Michael Thomas is the only wide receiver I know of in the last decade or so that's won Offensive Player of the Year. Now, Cooper Kupp may win it this year. So he would join Michael Thomas if that's the case. And don't get me wrong, he deserves it, right? Cooper Kupp was a badass. But prior to Cooper Kupp, Michael Thomas was the only receiver to win Offensive Player of the Year. Like the only one that I can think of. If I missed somebody, please let me know. Let me know in the comment section because, like I said, I don't know everything. But a player like Michael Thomas would instantly make anybody's offense better. Anybody's. I would say let's take Jacksonville Jaguars in this instance, right? Pro Football Focus has associated Michael Thomas's name as a part of a trade to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yet Jacksonville Jaguar fans come up to us, especially on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, they say Michael Thomas only runs slants. Slant boy this, slant boy that. Run more to the slant. But in actuality, they would want nothing more to have a player like Michael Thomas on their offensive roster with Trevor Lawrence, with Marvin Jones, with those cats over there. He would instantly make that team better because of what Michael Thomas is able to do as a route runner, a polished route runner, with as strong hands as they come. Thomas put up 80% catch percentage in both 2018 and 2019, 80.5% in 2018, and close to 85% in 2019. So, but people say he's overrated. Okay, so why do you want him? Why do you want him if he's so overrated? Explain that to me. So on and so forth for every other Saints player, coach, personnel, whatever the case may be. Anytime someone says that they're overrated, they want them they want them so bad. They want them so bad. Now with Sean Payton and Dallas Cowboys, according to Pro Football Talk, now this is only alleged, this is only claims. So don't take my word as gospel. But I recently read an article from Pro Football Talk regarding Sean Payton almost being completely traded to the Dallas Cowboys in the 2019 season. There was a behind the scenes deal going on that was almost set in stone, which allegedly was stopped only because Anthony Davis reported that he had no intentions of signing a new contract with the New Orleans Pelicans and requested a trade, which he then ended up getting traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. And then Mickey Loomis, who was executive for the Pelicans at that time, went up to Sean Payton and said he did not want to be like the common name or the common man responsible for two high-profile Louisiana athletes leaving. And that stopped all discussion of Cowboys trading for Sean Payton. That was what Pro Football Focus talked about. Now, if that's to be believed, for the sake of argument, let's say that's true. Dallas Cowboys fans would have been absolutely happy. Hell, I would say Dallas Cowboys would have won a Super Bowl, especially this year. I would say Dallas Cowboys would have won a Super Bowl with Sean Payton if that trade deal went through and they traded him to Dallas. They would have won. They probably would have gotten all the way to the NFC Championship in 2020. That's what I believe. I believe that wholeheartedly. They would have went to the NFC Championship in 2020, arguably all the way to the Super Bowl this year. Because Sean Payton is just that good of a play caller, an offensive genius. That's how underrated Sean Payton is. And some people just don't want to admit to just because they're with the New Orleans Saints. Now, what does this mean for the Saints as a whole? Honestly, the Saints, look, guys, we're in trouble. We're in trouble, right? We got another dark year ahead of us in 2022. Because no matter how you would try to address it, you just can't find another offensive guru like Sean Payton just off the streets willy-nilly in today's day and age of NFL. You can't. Whether it be Mike Zimmer, who I suggested on Twitter the Saints give a look into at the very least, or it be Mike Zimmer, or it be Brian Flores, whoever the Saints bring in, even if they promote in-house, right, with Dennis Allen or Pete Carmichael, no one is going to be able to duplicate or even come close to what Sean Payton has done for this team. Because of Sean Payton and the culture he's cultivated with the New Orleans Saints team. It's because of Sean Payton that we were over 500. We were above 500 this year. We could have finished 8-9 under any other head coach. Any other head coach. But Sean Payton and everything he's done and the ability to put players in positions to succeed. Sean Payton is the reason why we were 9-8 this year with even the slimmest chance of making the playoffs. They were 50% away, or they were just one big Rams play away from making the playoffs. Just one big Rams play. So no matter how they try to go about it, Sean Payton as no longer the head coach is going to sting. Change is inevitable. I get that. I definitely do get that. But this isn't something that's going to be easy to overcome. Especially if they have the kind of year they had this year. Between COVID and injuries and being displaced from a hurricane again. I don't see this team overcoming all of that under a new head coach without Sean Payton. I don't. I really don't. I could be proven wrong. I hope I'm proven wrong. But if that ends up happening, even to some slight degree, then it's ugh. Look, man. Now let's talk about the NFC South. The NFC South is wide open. It's wide open because not only are the Saints dealing with losing Sean Payton and having no quarterback, on top of having questions to answer in terms of who to keep, and with Marcus Williams, Quan Alexander, PJ Williams, Teron Armstead, some depth pieces like Carl Granderson, Dwayne Washington on special teams. He's a core special teams guy. Let's look at what the other NFC South teams are having to deal with. Let's start with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have the biggest, second biggest, I would say at this point, with Tom Brady contemplating retirement. Now, assuming Tom Brady does decide to retire after this year, that would leave a very, very big void, not only just with the quarterback position, but with several starters that are officially undrafted free agents. And a lot of those guys are most likely not going to come back on just 1-year deals. The Bucs sold out to get Tom Brady for short-term success. They didn't think long-term. And now it's starting to come back to bite them. And Dominican Sue, Davis, Jordan Whitehead, Ryan Jensen. They got a lot of starters on both offense and defense. Chris Godwin's the biggest name there. The Bucs are going to have to answer for a lot of that. A lot of those guys are going to demand a good bit of money on the open market. Carlton Davis, Jordan Whitehead, the way he's done for the Bucs. Chris Godwin, Chris Godwin's going to shake back from the ACL. I know for a fact he will. Tom Brady, your biggest question would be what Kyle Trask would look like, post Tom Brady era. I almost said Brady, excuse me. So the Bucs have a lot to answer for. Their short-term success is coming up really, really quickly. And even if Tom Brady does decide to stay, there's also guys like Leonard Fournette. There's also guys like an aging Rob Gronkowski. Cameron Brate, who hasn't done much for them. OJ Howard, who hasn't done much for them. Jalen Darden, who is not very good of a returner. They tried to get their own version of Deontay Harris. I know they did. They tried to get Deontay Harris for themselves in the form of Jalen Darden. He's not as shifty. Not that shifty. Let's see. If I was to go to another team, let's look at the Carolina Panthers. Let's look at the Panthers and what they got going on. Cam Newton is gone. I would say at this point, Cam Newton is the scapegoat, I would say at this point, for a lot of reasons for why the Panthers didn't have much success. You still have Matt Rule, who I already said a long time ago that he's not that guy for the Carolina Panthers. He hasn't been that guy. He never will be that guy. You have no questions at quarterback. Your offensive line is still pretty abysmal. You went petty and tried to draft a wide receiver that the Saints were interested in Terrence Marshall Jr., and he didn't pan out well for you. Less than 300 total receiving yards for the year, amongst all that talent left on the field by losing Curtis Samuel. You try to go for broke on Sam Darnold. He didn't pan out as well. And no, that should have been a given, considering the fact he threw over 12 interceptions in training camp. Should have been fairly obvious. The Carolina Panthers are a mess offensively. I would say, almost as bad as the New Orleans Saints. Now, they're slightly better because they have their coaching situation still figured out. They recently just hired a new offensive coordinator, and I say, what was it, Madu, whoever that is, who used to coach for the Giants. He's now with the Panthers. Your defense is still solid. You're getting J.C. Horn back for the year, but you're losing Stephon Gilmore. You don't know what your defensive line is going to look like. You still have your corner pieces like Big 95, and I would say, what was it? I don't know who 95 is. I forgot his name, but he the former Auburn defensive tackle star. You got Yuto Gross-Matos, Brian Burns. You're going to be without Hassan Reddick if you don't extend him to a new deal. Your middle of your defense, you got Jermaine Carter. You don't know how he's going to be. So the Panthers as a whole, they're up in the air. They're the wild card in all this. The front runner, I would say, for this Saints team would be the NFC South. The front runner favorites, if Tom Brady retires, would be the Atlanta Falcons. And that's saying something. That's saying a lot because the Atlanta Falcons don't have much going on in terms of good on their end either. You still have Matt Ryan, who's not really doing much for you. The biggest headline for the Falcons right now is the potential Alvin grows closer. So we'll see what happens there. Your offensive line just lost Smith, I believe Lee Smith. Your defensive line is still terrible. You have no pass rush going there. You still have good linebackers and Deion Jones and Foye Oluokun. You have a good corner in AJ Terrell. I do believe they still need a CB2. They passed on the best. They passed on the best safety in this year's draft for Richie Grant, who hasn't panned out well for them. And they have a lot of questions, but their coaching situation is better than, I would say, many teams, like the rest of the teams in NFC South. Like many teams. Sorry, guys. Grandmother is here. That's why I had to put myself on mute for a quick. All right, so everybody, Grandma's here. She's talking about running water for the day. It's supposed to be really, really chilly. So excuse me real quick. All right, that's it. Jerry Poor says, shout out to Grandma. Yeah, Grandma's doing well. Grandma's doing well. She's feeling better for the most part. We're getting there steadily. We're getting there very, very steadily, hoping for the best. All she has right now in terms of common issues is she has gas issues. Like she has gas buildup and it causes pain up in here underneath the chest area. But other than that, she hasn't spoken much about too many severe pains. So we're in the right direction. We're definitely in the right direction. Thank you guys so much for your thoughts and your prayers and your well wishes for my grandmother. We're doing okay here for now. So back to what I'm saying overall. I will never forget what Sean Payton's done for this team. I'll never forget it ever. Sean Payton changed the culture, the expectation, everything that's set in stone for, I would say, going forward, the rest of the franchise's years. Sean Payton revived everything. A lot, even Drew Brees helped out in that regard, but Sean Payton set the foundation staff with Mickey Loomis, with Tom Benson, with Mrs. Benson. Like Sean Payton was responsible for a lot of that, even during the down years. You have to take the good with the bad. We were talking about Sean Payton. He can be annoying. He can be a guy that overthinks things. He thinks he's smarter than everybody in the room. You can take those frustrations because the good certainly outweighs the bad, right? This hurts. This hurts. It doesn't hurt as much as a championship game, but it hurts in a different way. Not just from a football perspective, from just a guy that's really appreciated Sean Payton when, like, before he was even a teen. When I was 9 years old, I didn't know football at the time. He gave me fun football to watch down here on the coast when I didn't have much going in terms of, I would say, livelihood at the time when I was a kid. All I had was school, someplace to sleep, and just occasionally stuff to drink. Sean Payton gave me entertainment. He gave me fun, just something to watch every week. Sean Payton, if this really was your last year coaching for the New Orleans Saints, I and everybody in the Who Dat Nation and my podcast here, we thank you wholeheartedly. You will never be forgotten ever. TJ Jones dropping knowledge on the WDN. Yes. Gave you a shout out. Hey, shout out to TJ, man. Shout out to TJ. I saw that he was doing his podcast at 505. I was contemplating putting this off until he got done so he can have his fair shake unabated, but I was already close, so I figured I might as well go ahead and get it out of the way. But shout out to TJ, man. One of the best to do it here in the game. Very much respected. I'm hoping he gets verified on Twitter pretty soon. He's getting up there very, very close to doing so. I'm happy for him. Thank you, TJ, for the shout out. I'll have to check it out at some point. Jerry, you're going to have to let me know at what point did he give me a shout out so I can go back and watch his podcast at that point, because I do want to catch up. We got Purple Marcus in the building. What's going on, man? Jerry, is there a link? Yep, there is a link. I will be putting in a link right now. I will be putting in a link right now for anybody who wants to come in, who wants to get their thoughts out there. Hey guys, if you guys are able to, I'm not normally one for begging, but I do have stuff lined up going forward, but I'm going to have to cancel my subscription here to Melon app again until I can come into more money. Because of the fact that we live alone here, we don't have much in terms of cooking experience between me and my grandmother. I'm learning as I go, but most of the time I've had to order off this Uber Eats app, and that takes up a lot of money. On top of the fact I'm putting in the funds for my podcasts on other platforms such as my Facebook and my Twitter and my Instagram, etc. Not much money right now. So if you guys want to continue seeing live footage like this, live broadcasts like this, live streams like this, then I encourage you guys to donate. If you guys, even just $1, it helps like tremendously. My Cash App, I do Cash App. I don't get monetization yet on YouTube. I'm not at that point where being over 2K subscribers to have that function. But if you guys want to donate to the podcast, then my Cash App is officially RIA14. That's $, RIA RIA 14 in the Roman numerals of 14. So RIA XIV. The XIV part is all uppercase. But as always, you don't have to donate. I appreciate you guys just being here as being here in general. There is a link if you guys want to call in and get your thoughts. If you want to just talk a little bit, it doesn't even have to be football related. If you guys want to talk about Sean Payton and what he meant to you, what he meant to your family, what he's done for you and your part of the city, especially if you're from the city of New Orleans, come in. Let's talk about it. I am here for a little bit longer. I'm very much looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. We got our first one here. Name is PM. What's going on, PM?
Oh, man, when I heard about the news, I didn't know what to think. He's been a part of the Saints longer than I've been alive. That's saying something. It's great to be on this podcast. Thank you for bringing me on. So, when I heard about this news, I thought it was maybe like fake. Like I reread it again. They just say like, oh, maybe so Sean Payton retires house. I kept on rereading it. Finds out he retires. It sucks because he put so much into this franchise, and I think we'll be back after next year. I think this might be just a 1-year thing where you just need some time to relax. But I think he's gonna be back next year. But I don't think he's gonna go to the Cowboys, another team that needs him, because he did say in the podcast, "This is right now. I'm done with coaching." He said maybe in the future I'll come back to coaching, but I think later in the future he might come back to the Saints. But he said I'm guessing this is like a 5-year spread if he's leaving coaching for a while, like a 5-year spread until he comes back.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel unreal.
It really does, especially if you're a longtime Saints fan who's watched since the time he stepped into the Saints building. Like I said, I was 9 years old when Sean Payton came to this franchise. A year after Hurricane Katrina, I still didn't have much going on, right? Because my front yard was still a mess. We still didn't have much in terms of power. We had to rely on generators now and again. Like, it was a hard time for us, and I wasn't even in New Orleans. I was the next state over. So if I had it rough, imagine what everybody down there in the city of New Orleans, in the state of had it going, because they got hit like right on. I got hit just by like the outer walls of the eye, or just on the outside, like the outer bands of the wall.
Yeah.
And that was
what
rough.
city you live in?
I live in Gulfport. I live like less than an hour and a half away from New Orleans.
Mississippi? Or
yeah.
No?
Okay. Gulfport, Mississippi. Yep.
Yeah, but like, to be honest, think of it as like my perspective, like, and then look at it as your perspective, like, because Kerry's been around for a long time. He's seen different guys, and then imagine someone like you or me. You were young when you saw something like that, but me, I don't know anything about that, about like having an older coaches. The only thing I paid attention to is the older stuff. Is the players. I don't know what it feels like. So thinking about that, I don't know what to expect, because I haven't seen the Saints without Sean Payton. This year without Drew Brees, where I really, really paid attention to the New Orleans Saints. This is a year where I really paid attention to the New Orleans Saints. but like Drew Brees left. Okay, it hurt, but it was expected from me. I knew. Okay, I knew that Drew Brees was gonna go. I knew that, so I was prepared. I was just waiting for the day. Where is it gonna be? This year, next year. I thought it was gonna be this year. It wasn't this year. But now that I think about it, Sean Sean Payton Sean Payton was the heart and soul of the Saints team for however long he has been here, and don't be surprised if it goes to the Bears in a couple of years, maybe, or even this year. If he says, you know, I want to go to the Bears. I want to be with. I want to be with. I want to go back to the team that I actually played for. I don't know if any of you guys know this, but he actually played for the Bears at quarterback. I don't know if you guys even knew that. But he
I
played for the
remember.
Bears there. Oh yeah, but he played there. He was decent. Played for the Bears. I mean, that's playing for your team playing for the team that you grew up watching, and then living there, and then this opportunity to leave back. But if let's say that the Saints, I become like a linebacker or whatever position I play, and I go to a team where I win a ring. I go to a couple NFC championships. I win a couple rings. I should go deeper. I win a couple rings. I do all this. I get a couple I get a couple let's say a couple awards. Like I've been here for 10 years, and the opportunity comes where I'm just let's say we went 7-9, or like now it's like 7-10 or something. If that happened and then now I'm leaving, or I'm saying that I'm retiring, I'm confused. And let's say that I'm like, okay, a new opportunity just came up at DT, right? With the I don't know, with the Saints. So let's say that I played with the Rams for a long time or something, and then the Saints open up, and I built so much with the Rams, and that's where Sean Payton's at right now. But if you were in that situation, what would you do? Would you just go to the Bears because now they have an open spot?
That's an interesting one. I don't really have Sean Payton going to the Bears. I
No, but
have
like,
him.
okay, so no, like in your situation, because let's say you go if you're in a Sean Payton situation, or you go play for another team besides the Saints, and you built so much with that team when you win rings, you love the guys there, everything, but then there's an opportunity where you're a free agent. Let's say you're a free agent, you're playing any position well. If what's your favorite position?
My favorite position would be linebacker.
Linebacker. Let's say you're a linebacker, all pro, a guy that won a couple rings, right? Say you won 3 rings with the team. You got so much with that team. Couple. What's besides the Saints? What would be pick a random team.
Pick a random team. I would say Buffalo.
Buffalo Bills. You become an all pro linebacker, best linebacker of your generation, like non-debatable, and you did that all with that team, and you just build up that team, and this is your team, and all of a sudden you're like, look at this, the Saints just opened up a new spot at DT, and I haven't even, besides watching the games, and you're more focused on the Bills now than the Saints, but as a kid, or like, let's say you're like as a kid, like a teenager, always on the Saints before you move. Think about that. Where'd you go if you're a free agent and you got only 2 offers? Okay, wait, Sean Payton. 16 years. That's a long time. We're gonna miss him. Yeah, we're gonna miss him.
Ooh, that would be a tough one. That would be tough because it would be hard to just commit to somewhere else after I've been somewhere for so long. I do see where you're going with this, especially in if I were to equate my realm of thinking to Sean Payton in this instance.
Like I know it's like your favorite team growing up. You love this team, but I don't think. Oh wait, so something. 16 years or almost 16 years. You're saying that you're just gonna give that up to go to your favorite team that just your favorite team, but you've built so much with this team over actual playing instead of watching it. I couldn't. Yeah, when I later in my career when they don't want me anymore, and my team offers me an offer, man, I'm shipping. But I couldn't just go to a team, spend so much time with let's say the Rams, go as a DT, play so much, get love my guys there, love everything, and just go to my favorite team of all time, just because I used to like them as a kid. And look at the Chicago Bears now. You don't even look. So let's say that the Saints are just a, a team that's not good, a team that's not a team that you grew up with. You're saying that you're just gonna give all that history up playing in the league, 10 years, your 11th year, you're just gonna move on to another team. See, Brady did that easily. He just swooped. But would you do that after all that time? Could you do that?
That would be tough.
Exactly. You
If the
can't just
situation
say
if the situation was right, then I definitely consider it. But it would be hard to just say
situations
yes
not
or no either way.
exactly. You can't. Sean Payton had to think about this long and hard. You cannot just say that all these guys are saying, all these sports analysts, they just pick a couple highlights, just peek in and peek out. That's all they do. I'm not focused on one team. That's why. That's why. Look at so look at all these sports news channels of the Saints. Look at them against like the Eagles, another
Okay.
team. They're focused, right?
Yeah.
On that team. Yeah, they might talk about another team. So like they might talk about another team, but they're not gonna go out. Okay, so they're not gonna go out and then talk about another team. That's the thing. That's the difference between the sport analysts. They're just gonna say Sean Payton. Okay, he's gonna go out for another team. It's not gonna happen. So I just think it's kind of foolish that people just say, okay, Sean Payton is gonna get right on board with the Bears. Don't just think by tomorrow evening or maybe like even tomorrow early in the morning you're gonna say, okay, Sean Payton is a Bear Saints get a couple first round picks. They get I mean they get Robertson from the Bears. They get a couple more players and that's it. That's not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So let me get your thoughts on the coaching situation and what the Saints have to go through as a whole. Because you seem like you're young, but you're very, very knowledgeable, at least from what you're telling me. Because you're very practical with your situations, you're very realistic. With Sean Payton stepping down as head coach and the Saints having a lot of questions to answer in terms of who to keep or who to let go, what would be your first move to make in order for the Saints to have a chance to be competitive in 2022?
Okay, repeat what you just said. Again, I heard something about like the coaching, like what we do the coaching. But can you repeat it?
So, what would you do with this current this lack of head coach situation, and your thoughts on this on many Saints players that are due contracts like Marcus Williams, Quaden Alexander, PJ Williams, Teron Armstead? How would you go? What would be your first move to address these myriad of situations?
Okay. Name all. Okay, so name a couple free agencies from our team. like 5 maybe.
Yep.
Okay, so like okay, Marcus Williams, keep him, stud guy. He's maybe inconsistent, but we can keep him to be a guy that's going to be playing at a high level when he wants to. We keep him. Who else do we have? Quan, he can go. He can go
Oh.
because look, if Demario Davis does not leave this year, it's probably not going to happen. Then he can go. Look, and he's good. Pete Warner is ready, and I think a lot of people don't. They just don't want to give up on Quan because he's done all this good stuff. But Pete is ready. If we already have a guy that's ready, we can just give up someone who we've only known him since was it last year? I mean, the year when TB's retired that year was only that year since we had him. That's a couple year guy that we sometimes have, like Ted Ginn. Yeah, he was a couple year guy. I really liked Ted Ginn. My favorite is one of my favorite Saints players of all time, and favorite players of all time. Yes, but that's a couple year player. Who else? PJ Williams. That's the guy that I wouldn't even think about like doing that because I even though he's good, he's still not all that. So I would just leave that up into the coaching staff. Well, we don't even have that much coaching staff. So what I would do is, hey, Dennis Allen, if Brett Forrest is not signed with us, we give Brett Forrest a contract. And if he does not sign with us, Dennis Allen, you're giving the head coaching job. Anyways, like he's gonna get a bigger job anyway if Brett Forrest comes back. Comes to the Saints. I want him. I don't want anybody else because this team is built to be a defensive heavy team that's allowing 18 points a game, 20 points a game. You know what I'm saying? Because he is a defensive head coach, and if we get him with Dennis Allen, come on, think about that. Just Brett Forrest with Dennis Allen and the stars on defense. Just think about it. Tell me about it right now.
See, I see your point, but the problem with that is we have a track record in the NFL that shows that defensive minded head coaches don't don't produce success for their respective offenses in the NFL. Most recent one, Robert Saleh, who was who used to be the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, who took that defense to top 5 and led them to a Super Bowl. The New York Jets paid him top dollar to be their head coach, and he still produced nothing. Their offense is still abysmal. What about?
But
Hold on.
guess what?
What's up?
Guess what? See, look at Deshaun Watson. He pays okay, let's say that he pays everyone, right? He pays everyone, give him he spends like $5 million on that. Just goes out and pays. He's still being paid by the Texans. Don't be surprised if the Saints go out and trade for Deshaun Watson if if Flores becomes our head coach, because he wants to come play for Flores. So when looking at that, we go out, we get a decent offensive coordinator. Let Deshaun Watson work with Alvin Kamara, work with Michael Thomas, go get another stud. We don't have to focus on offense because Deshaun Watson can focus on that. We can just get a decent offense where we have a star quarterback. Just think about that, because we get him, we might get Deshaun Watson because Deshaun Watson wants to go play for him. That's 2 ups. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's that simple, my man. It's definitely idealistic. I don't know about that, because even if let's say for the sake of argument, the Saints do end up getting Deshaun, not Deshaun, Brian Flores, right? Let's say that ends up happening. The culture for the New Orleans Saints is still very much real. Sean Payton went out of his way to cut locker room cancer guys, that cancer room guys like Akeem Hicks, Brandon Cooks, guys like that are distractions in the locker room. Deshaun Watson is currently a distraction to respective locker rooms when he had what he has going on off the field. So there's no guarantee that this Saints front office would spend so much draft capital in a trade deal for Deshaun Watson when they're just going to put him on a PU, not on PUP, excuse me, on we end up going to end up on the commissioner exempt list. That's what I'm looking for. So, is there anybody in the? Let me ask you this. I'll let you go because I got one more caller. Who in the draft coming up this year? Is there anybody you're eyeing in particular that you're wanting to say? Is there anybody in this year's draft that you want the Saints to get out of everybody else, no matter what?
99 from Georgia and number 9 from Cincinnati. But can you bring on the caller right now? Because I kind of want to see his or her perspective on this.
Well, I can, but the thing is, I would have to let you go because of my current subscription deal here on Melon app. I can only bring on one person at a time until I upgrade to the next their next package deal. But I do appreciate you, Purple Marcus. How old are you, by the way? You sound very young
10.
and very knowledgeable. You're 10 years old.
10. Yeah.
Wow, guys, we have our young cat here, a 10-year-old Purple Marcus, very knowledgeable for a guy of his age. Look, man, you are going places. Keep digging, keep expanding your knowledge on the game of football. I would love to have you on here again. I hope you continue supporting the B&G Breakdown podcast. Continue sharing your knowledge with people around you and keep your head on your shoulders. You got a bright future ahead of you with how sharp your mind is. You're asking all the right questions.
Thanks. Well, one more thing.
Yeah, what's up?
Look, so what I said was it realistically? No. That was just, if we get Flip Force, that's what we should do. Realistically, is it Jim or John Harbaugh that's at Michigan?
I think it's John I think it's Jimmy.
Okay, so
Jimmy Harbaugh.
Whatever Harbaugh that works at Michigan, because there's are they brothers, John and Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Imagine if Jim or whatever his name is at Michigan goes to the Ravens with Antonio Brown.
Oh man, the head cases that would happen over there. Let me tell you. But we'll talk about that another time. Thank you for that. I have to let you go for right now, my man. But next time I do a live show, you're more than welcome to call in whenever I put down a link to take calls. Okay? You take it easy.
Yeah. You too. Thanks for having me.
Hey, glad to have you, my man. Look, that was PM, guys. Purple Marcus, a 10-year-old, very knowledgeable for a boy of his age. That's what it means to be a fan of the game. Shout out to PM, but we got another man here. It's my dude, Man in Black. What's up, dude? I haven't talked to you in a hot minute. What is up?
Life, that's what's up.
I hear you on that front, my man. I hear you. Dude, I hear you.
Man, it's been such a crazy ride, You know what? To be honest, when I heard the kid was Purple Marcus only 10, like, he must have a sibling or a relative that's a coach, because there's no way he knows that much without inside knowledge,
It's crazy, right? Crazy. I said this. I had, but yikes, man.
Yikes!
I'm glad to have a young man like that on my podcast. He even had me think about all some stuff.
No, I gotta watch my language here more now.
Nah, we keep it real over here. He probably know what the business is.
Probably.
All right, but what you got for us, man?
First off, how you been, dude? It's been a while to talk to you.
Another day, another dollar, ain't nothing changed except the weather. My grandmother's doing a little better as of late. Most common issue she's got right now is just she's got gas built up in the body, so she has problem going to the.
Let me guess. Okay. She said, "Oh, it hurts.
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
Because my grandma's doing that exact same daggone thing.
But yeah,
She's
but
93
other than
years
that, she's
old
doing fine.
But now
Uh,
from my perspective, you want to talk about Sean Payton or the draft? What do you want to talk about?
it doesn't matter, man. The floor is yours. You talk about what you want to talk about, and I'll hop right on it. You're gonna be my last
Well, see,
caller, so make it count.
I will. So the thing is, this whole I don't think Sean Payton's going to retire from coaching entirely. If he's burned out, it's okay. It happens. Some of the greatest coaches have had burnouts. I'm pretty sure Belichick has had that stuff away a couple times in his career, just to kind of reevaluate things, and to put things in perspective. And when he comes back, he's locked and loaded, ready to go. I mean, but the thing is, I don't know why we made basically like this mountain out of a molehill. I'm okay. It's just oh boy, oh man, sorry. It's just really mind-boggling. It seems like whenever just goes to show the media hates the Saints. So from ever since Sean got there, let's see which team they hate. Saints. But I do have a question though. If Sean does retire, I'm pretty sure you have. Do you believe that we have the pieces in house to keep this organization stable?
Oh, I would say yes, we do. Because once Sean Payton changed the culture of the Saints, a lot of expect change, a lot of how the Saints operated changed with it, from managing salary cap to finding the right type of talent that's good on and off the field. Sean Payton was responsible for a lot of that, and involving himself with Mickey Loomis, Kai Harley, Jeff Ireland, like those guys, along with Sean Payton, did so much. I think they've built a really solid foundation that won't be broken anytime soon. So I think they have enough pieces in house to at least be competitive after this year. But for right now, you could make an argument that it's good that it's happening now instead of
later.
Instead of later. But at the same time, the state of the Saints right now may not be as favorable, I would say. Yeah, you can argue salary cap, but they've always found a way to manipulate that shit to however they want to. So
Mickey Loomis is a freaking wizard at that.
But
he literally pulled that money from the thin air.
But aside from that, you've got a lot of questions in terms of players and personnel, from, like I said, from Marcus Williams to PJ Williams, who really had his best career season as a safety.
People say he's literally he's guarding. Like, no, the reason why we kept him is because he is very secure and confident with tackling. He admits himself, I need to work on some things. Even Marcus Williams does too. But with PJ Williams, even though he was not the best cornerback, even though he got burned a couple times, he made sure that his tackles were clean.
I call that the Malcolm Jenkins effect. Because Malcolm Jenkins had a similar situation. Brought in as a corner, didn't work out. He went onwards to a greener pastures after winning a Super Bowl to being a starting safety, come back with that safety knowledge. He's been one of the best safeties I can think of. This is kind of similar.
Wasn't he already if I remember correctly, wasn't he drafted as a safety or a cornerback?
He was drafted as a corner. But they converted him to safety later down the line.
And it saved his career.
He's definitely saved his career. Before I get to other issues, I want to point out my man here, OG, says, thank you for introducing Hoodie Jew to me when he was your guest. I'm having fun on his channel. Look, Hoodie Jew is an up-and-coming GOAT, dude. I love Hoodie Jew, man. And I can't wait to do that collab with him. If you guys don't know what's going down this offseason, me, Hoodie Jew, my man, Big Smoke, Smokeless YT, are getting together with other Saints media podcasters, whoever we can, and we're going to get together on draft night and do a live reaction to NFL draft night. So if you guys,
is that for every draft night? Is that for every night or just
yes?
One night?
I am pushing for that to be so. Yes.
Yes.
So we don't have anything detailed set up yet in terms of where it's going to be, but it is going to happen. So if you're following either me, Smokeless, or Hoodie Jew, go ahead.
I might have
Keep
an
up
idea
to
that might
date
help
with
you out.
them. It is going to be a fun night, however it go, as we
I
bring in the new start of a Saints era.
I have an idea that might help you guys out.
What at? What up? What up?
Um, like have like maybe one night do it on like say hoodies, another night do it on yours, and smoke was on a final night. You know?
It's possible. We could do
Or
that.
or or just do random, just do a roll of dice. You know, just something like that. You know.
Hey, that's
But
fair. Let
but I
me
do
get
have
your
another quirk.
opinions. Let me ask your opinion real quick before I get to you. Um, if you had to look at this current pool of unrestricted free agents for the Saints, outside of Marcus Williams, because that's a given, who would you want the Saints to retain at any cost? The pool consists of not only PJ Williams, but Quan Alexander, Dwayne Washington, who's a core special teamers, to
Mm-hmm.
Carl Granderson, to I believe it's Jalen Holmes, who filled as a good rotational role player, defensive end from Ohio State. You've got I wouldn't say Mark Ingram, but I would say Ty Montgomery, a role player. You've got I believe Deontay Harris as a restricted free agent. I would definitely, yeah, Deontay Harris. He's already served his 3 years as an undrafted player, so he would be a restricted free agent, unrestricted next offseason. I forgot who else is on that list, but
I saw
Teron Armstead.
Armstead
Teron
and
Armstead. Thank you
and
for
and
that.
Cameron Jordan.
No, Cameron Jordan is not. Cameron Jordan had restructured his deal. He's still with the
Okay,
team.
thank
Thank
God.
God too.
That's the leader.
I
That's the anchor of the defense. I don't want to see him go. Him and Dave Murray, I don't want to see him go.
I think he's gonna. I honestly think he's gonna retire a Saint.
If once he gets the Super Bowl, he will.
I hope that dude gets Super Bowl
To be
along with
honest,
Demario
wait.
Davis.
Speaking of which, he should have at least two, maybe three Super Bowls by now.
Crazy, right? Crazy to think about.
Because 12, because he was drafted, I believe, like the 10, 11 season, right?
2010.
We were not ready 11. Because our defense was still kind of somewhat unbalanced. By the 12, 13, if not they were all acquitted anyway. So there's no point suspending anybody, for the bounty gate. Like think about it. How many times have coaches have inspired people to win? Their players to win.
Not very
He,
many.
you gotta get them some. You gotta get them something to kick in the pants. 12, 13 would have been our back-to-back year, and that would have been the first two for Cameron Jordan, as well as the Brees two extras, and then 18. Drew Brees should have at least a brass knuckle of rings, but that's beside the point. For the options, I'd say to keep. Let's see. If we could find, let's see. I would love to keep Quan, but the thing is, if he can stay healthy, give him a cheap deal, and that way we can bring him back. That's one possibility. But for Marcus Williams, we got to keep that backfield good because now let's see. You said Armstead, right?
Armstead.
See, the thing is, as much as I love him, as he's been here for too long though, I'd rather him kind of cut him for like a year or two, and hopefully he stays healthy and see what happens. Because sometimes it's better to cut someone a year early than keep them on and eventually accelerate their retirement rate. Because need to remind you that Drew Brees, while he was already on borrowed time with the new repaired shoulder, it kind of accelerated the condition when he got that shoulder injury. I believe in the 7-9 years. I believe it was 15, 16 when he got that injury. He had to be pretty much rehab with the baseball, if I remember correctly. So that accelerated his retirement. Or and it pretty much made it come sooner. And 18 would have been his last year. Especially with that injury, he was literally on borrowed time at 18.
It sucks, but that's true. I didn't want.
Yeah,
I didn't want to put that out there. That's true.
Think about it. He had anchors in his shoulder that from a 360-degree tear because he broke a cardinal rule as a quarterback. Like there are certain rules that every position is a cardinal rule that you never break. One for the quarterback, the cardinal rule is never go into a scrum for a fumble. For wide receivers, never lock your knee when you overextend yourself. And for defensive and lineman, never leave with your helmet. Because how many times a concussion has ended someone's career? Nick Easton, case in point. Or change how they react, or how they the gameplay. Case in point, Jared Cook. Ever since he took that shot with the freaking.
Give me just a second here.
All right. What are we calling you?
Sorry, go ahead.
But now let's see. Like I said, I'd probably I'd cut Armstead and give other people a chance because Throckmorton has been doing pretty good in that position. My biggest issue right now is Ruiz. It's like sometimes he gets flustered for some reason, just forgets what is his training. He forgets the basics. But from that pool, I say we find a way to keep Quan on a cheap deal. Even if we have to spread it out, give him a more years. We already have franchise tagged Marcus, so that pushes the can down the line a little bit. So, which I believe after this season he'll be an unrestricted free agent, right?
Yep.
Bring him back
on
a cheap deal. We gotta find some way to keep Deontay Harris. And now see Ty Montgomery, we can probably cut him, but I have to bring him back on another cheap deal, like a 1 year cheap deal. But
I would let that dude go.
Yeah, personally, yes, I don't see that. But like I said, let him go. Kind of see if he's still in the free in the market, bring him back. Just have fun. Now, Dwayne Haskins is a good.
No,
I say he's a good special teamer, but that's about it. Send him somewhere else for a trade somewhere. Like a trade, like a draft pick or something.
You mean Dwayne Washington? You said Dwayne Haskins.
Whatever his name is. Dwayne Washington, you know what I mean, though.
Because Dwayne Haskins is the quarterback for Pittsburgh, and I'm like,
no. I know, I messed up. I noticed like crap. Anyways,
gooped up, bro.
Now, who else did you say? It was Quan, Marcus Williams, Harris, Armstead, PJ Williams, right?
Yep.
I think keep PJ Williams because keep him in that safety role. Because if Malcolm Jenkins walks, we already have a great backup in him.
And Carl Granderson.
Carl Granderson, I feel like is a good rotational piece at best, But I feel like we could do better, What do you think?
I would keep Quan, honestly, because
that's the main one.
Even though I
love the main ones I keep because with freaking Demario Davis and Quan, that's a gruesome twosome back there. But then you also got Pete Warner on the side,
I love Pete Warner. I've been on Pete Warner's hype train since the day he was drafted. Unlike most
I've been
people.
on Paulson and Debo's hype train since this day one. I saw the highlights. I'm still wait, hold on. And if we keep Harris, I want us to go. So I want us to target someone and bring him back and put him on special teams so Harris can do more of the offense. You already know who I'm about to call up for, huh?
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Bring on that Lord.
No, don't you do it! I will mute you. Don't do it. Don't bring that pain on me. I'll mute you to death. Don't do it.
But there are some injured people who are on the practice squad who want to give a chance, I've seen some good pieces, Now it sucks that the reason why there was one who I think I would love to see who was Emmanuel Butler, but the only problem why we cut him is because he's not really that good with blocking,
Yeah, he was an ultimate training camp darling too.
Yeah, he was. I hate that. But the thing is, the reason why Jordan Humphrey's still there because he knows how to block. Because sometimes, as a wide receiver, your job is to block. Is that correct?
Yeah, but you can definitely find better production at the. If I was to name any position that's in dire need for a type of rebuild, it would definitely be receiver position. You can get one guy from free agency.
I already know who to get from free agency.
If you get Mike Williams, I swear to God, I will love you. Add Mike Williams to like.
I got something even better. For free agency. This is a steal.
Who?
Calvin Ridley.
No.
I'm saying it's an option, but could you imagine seeing that thing is happening if that happens? Like the stars align, and all of a sudden we have landed Calvin Ridley as a free agent.
He's not going to be a free agent though. He's still under contract. They're just talking about trading him.
Yeah.
For one, but I do see where you're coming from. But my issue with Calvin Ridley is he hasn't shown the ability to run block during his time in Atlanta.
Yeah,
that's not something you can necessarily coach. You can, but you can't. You can, but you can't. Like you have to be a willing blocker and be willing to be coached up to block. And Calvin Ridley hasn't really shown that.
Exactly.
And this is a what lately type of league. Mike Williams literally posted over 1,000 receiving yards with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Nice.
Over 1,100 receiving yards. Go look at the stat. 1,100.
And that'd be a nice that'd be a nice dual threat with him. And now, okay, first off, I want to say this: if Cam Merritt had stayed healthy and had actually fully rehabilitated his leg, he'd probably be a pretty good threat and number 2 or slot receiver, you know, because he had some he was doing pretty good. But that's beside the point.
That's another underrated fact that I didn't even get to highlight. This is really underrated. This is an underrated fact right here. I'm really going to miss him. Now all the free agents aren't going to want to come here. Well, it's true, but also not true. What the Saints done with free agents since Sean Payton was here is outstanding. It's outstanding.
To be honest, I'd rather get more second round picks than anything else. Like second and later round picks than anything else. Because how many great people came out of the first round? Only a few, you know. But we've utilized
at the same time.
I mean, like not okay. I can name only like a couple that came out of the first round that actually has done us good, you know. Ramczyk, Lattimore. What round was Jenkins drafted in?
We're talking about free agents here.
Okay, I'm sorry, but that my brain went to the draft for a second, you know. Like about how like I'm still also like free agent. Like yeah, I agree. Like cause I remember like the I think because free agents and drafts kind of ties them together anyway. So in some way, but I would love to see someone that we can make a big splash as a number 2 wide receiver. I do agree. We do need a little bit of a help in there, but I also feel like we need some more help on the offensive line too. We got the pieces there. Just need someone to anchor it down, you know.
I think you can get a good left tackle in the second round with your second round pick.
Yeah, because Pete, we all know Pete's gone.
No, Pete's not gone.
Oh,
unfortunately,
we need to cut him.
Andrews Pete is. He's like the Marcus Davenport of the offense. He's really good when he's on the field. He just hasn't been on the field.
Yeah,
which sucks because he's a really good run blocker. Like when Andrews Pete went down to injury, you can really see how the run game suffered.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
he was the most athletic offensive lineman. He was a reason why the pole game was so good.
He was literally on his butt. So
true, but he was also impactful when they were pulling him.
I'm not gonna lie, he did have some impact. It's basically like how Anyamata was missed on the defensive line because when he wasn't there, you felt his presence missed. You know.
So I could definitely see the worth, but I still can't question. I still don't believe he was worth the 5-year deal they gave him.
He was at least 2 years minimum, you know.
I would give him 3 just for that. I would give him 3.
2 3 minimum, you know. Maximum, excuse me.
If it's
okay.
Tackle in the second round.
I know we're talking about free agents, but I kind of have a question. I want you to kind of tie them with the coaching. The thing is, if Sean Payton did kind of after he leaves, who do you think will be the person who would be the head coach, coordinator, and whatnot? You know, who do you think would be?
That's a close one. I'll answer this, and then I gotta go because I got a call to make. But if I was to say who will replace Sean Payton, I just want to go on record again and say, no matter who replaces Sean Payton, no one's going to be able to replicate the amount of offensive success that he's had in this system.
Very consistently too.
There was a reason why the Saints finished this year over 500. It was because of the fortitude, the resolve, and the coaching ability that Sean Payton has instilled in his fellow coaching staff.
Bring back Winston
and into his players. Now, I don't know if Jameis Winston is even going to come back because it was because of Sean Payton that he was here in the first place. He saw Drew Brees and Sean Payton and this team at that point as the Harvard for quarterbacks into
It
some
really
degree.
is.
Into some degree, it was, and that's what really appealed to Jameis Winston. Now, not only is Drew Brees not here, they've lost Sean Payton, so his reasons for being here are no longer here. So
Let's
there's
not
no
forget some of those
guarantee that we'll
games.
have Jameis Winston back.
Let's not forget some of those games or outlier games, like the first Carolina game. Our pretty much the whole staff was decimated. I mean, you can't really coach a team without coaches, you know.
I doubt A-Rod or Russ is going to want to come here without Sean's offensive mind. I didn't think those guys were going to come here to begin with. Those are
Wait a
just
minute, hold
pipe
up.
dreams that
I do say
everybody
this
was
though.
buying
Now,
into.
there's one person I feel like who could replicate it, but not be as great. I want to say maybe I feel like Pete Carmichael could replicate it to some degree, but I feel like he doesn't have like the aggressive attitude towards it, you know, because he's been with Sean Payton for so long, you know, so he kind of knows what Sean Payton's been, but he also had a hand in designing some of that offensive schemes, you know. So
While true, I mean it's another thing. It's another thing when you have those responsibilities. Like the responsibilities of a head coach, like multiplies tenfold when you're like. It's one thing to just coach a game or try to fill in for like 2, 3, maybe even 4 games, but to do it over a 17-game stretch, one of the biggest for Dennis Allen being moved up to head coach, because we seen what he's done as a head coach when he was
yep.
with the previously named Oakland Raiders. Now, great.
Hold up, you're freezing, lagging.
Now that can give you
hold up, you're kind of lagging.
Head coach. There's also evidence out there that would suggest that defensive-minded coaches don't make for good head coaches. A team like the New Orleans Saints that desperately needs offensive juice, you don't want a defensive-minded coach like trying to take command of your offense. Like Robert Saleh for the New York Jets, a really good defensive coordinator for the 49ers who went to a Super Bowl because that defense was top 5 in 2019. And now he's head coach, and that offense for the Jets was still absolutely abysmal. They have some manner of talent.
Hold up now. I mean, it might be the outlier to the rule, but isn't Belichick a defensive-minded coach?
No, he's not.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Cause okay. I didn't know. I'm like, was he offensive or defensive? I was like, I just had to get that clarification.
I mean, in some degree, he might be. I haven't really covered Bill Belichick like that to really say definitively one way or the other, and you just blacked out, my man. Man in Black, hello? Do y'all know where he went? Hello? Okay. I don't know where he went. Guys, where did he go? I think it's me. Is it me? You accidentally hit a button. Whatever button you hit, I'm gonna need you to unhit it. Because this is weird. So apparently it's not me because Man in Black is still here. Oh, okay. Rip. Well, we'll wait for Man in Black to come back. But for the moment, I will say I will continue my thought about Dennis Allen. I mean, like I said, there's just let me read these comments. Let me read these comments instead. B Slaughter the commissioner. I've seen him talking about Cowboys FC. Praise him. The Cowboys FC, they praise him, but no playoff wins. If you're talking about Kellen Moore, I think Kellen Moore is not a fit for New Orleans. I really don't think so. I think he's overrated, in my personal opinion. But
sorry about that, dude. I was trying to close something because a notification came out trying to close it. I actually hit the wrong thing.
No, it's okay. You can't be worried for a second. I thought it was me.
No, it was me. It was totally me. I put in the prior chat, hey, I actually hit a button, so that's why I wasn't there.
I saw. Appreciate that heads up. I was about
no
to start
problem.
panicking.
Hey, don't, dude, don't. Hey, don't worry. I ain't gonna leave you hanging without at least dinner and a movie. So.
But nobody talking about cheap so see. I think when when it comes to Kansas City, I think the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs would be a really good head coach because yeah, they have the talent offense, but that offensive coordinator and Andy Reid, when they had the slump during the first 5 weeks of the season, they made the right adjustments at the right
Mm-hmm.
time, and that just speaks to understanding your
Excuse me.
situation and what opposing defenses are doing to you, adapting, being able to put your players in position to maximize their talents.
Yeah.
I would make inquiries about Chiefs offensive coordinator up there and see if you can get him down to New Orleans. That's a guy I would most definitely trust to get this offense back in the right direction.
I was
I
gonna.
don't know. I don't know about Brian Flores. I think Brian Flores is too defensive minded, just like Dennis Allen is. Even though I don't believe he's better of a defensive coach than Dennis Allen, I think he's just I think he's just too defensive headstrong. I have seen nothing on the Miami offense that would suggest to me that he would be a good head coach. You need to
I'm
find
back.
a pure offensive minded guy. Yep, I see you. I hear you. You got anything you want to add? I think you muted yourself. Man in Black. My boy. What are you doing? If you can hear him. Oh, he couldn't hear me. Oh man. We're gonna try him one more time. We're gonna wait for him to get back. We're gonna try one more time with Man in Black. If not, we're gonna close up shop and get ready because I do have a call I need to make. But let's try it again. Here he is. There you
Sorry,
are.
my someone tried to call me. I kept hitting decline, but I kept calling back. So I literally had to text them like, "Hey, I'm coming. I'm busy right now."
It's cool. Go ahead and get your final thoughts in there, and then I'll let you go and take your call. Then I gotta make my call.
Nah, it was just my stepmom trying to let me know I need to go walk the dog, but that's about it. Um, yeah, I just let them know, hey, I'm coming. And it was I was gonna say, what was I gonna say to them? Yeah, you're right. I guess you're right. But wait, okay. You mentioned about how Denzel was 8-28, right? Or was it 8-20?
8-28.
Okay, that's the thing. But you gotta also think like, well, yes, he that's it's not always gonna pan out the way you expected. But you also gotta think, where did it go wrong? Like if the head coach was great, you gotta think, where along the line did it go wrong? Was it the supporting cast or was it you entirely? And at the
That's
time, I think
true.
Oakland had a bad supporting cast. If they had a bad supporting cast or a toxic one, it could end a disaster. Case in point, the time when we had 379 seasons. While the offense was pretty stable, it was the locker room and the coach in the locker room, which was very toxic. So he changed. So when Sean changed that in 17, everything became a lot better.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But for right now, I will end it with cordially inviting you to the watch party coming up in this year's draft. It's going to be a fun
You
night.
know I'm gonna be there.
Awesome, bro. We'll
If I
keep in
don't have football,
touch.
if I don't have a football game,
I got my social media handles down in the description below. If you're following or subscribe to one of those areas, go ahead and hit me up in one of those respective DMs. We'll keep in touch as we draw closer to the draft. For right now, I gotta let you go. I got to make sure I get my closing statements in here, and then I gotta hop off and take this call. But my man, it was awesome talking to you. I hope you call back again soon. As always, I'll see you next time, brother.
keep it salty, my man.
Hey, I'm salty 24/7. Man in Black, guys, look, Man in Black is an awesome dude. If you guys want to talk football, or talk anything in general, Man in Black is your guy. This guy can talk. You'll never get tired, and I'll never get tired of hearing him. But to close out everything for right now, I want to say one more time, thank you to Sean Payton for everything you've done for this team, for the city of New Orleans, and for the state of Louisiana. Thank you for giving a lot of guys who were no names or guys that nobody would want to take a chance on. Thank you for making them household names. Thank you for delivering us a Super Bowl. If this is your last time coaching for the New Orleans Saints, but I swear to Almighty Heaven above, if you end up coaching for the Dallas Cowboys, like Pro Football Focus or Pro Football Talk alluded to, if you end up coaching for the Cowboys, I'm telling you, I'm wishing you all the worst success, all the worst failures of your tenure in Dallas. I'm just gonna let you know. I hope you're back with the Saints next year. Take all the time you need. You've most certainly deserved it. Thank you for delivering us a 9-8 season of finishing above 500, finishing strong. To everybody who's a Saints fan or anybody's football fan in general that loves Sean Payton, look, we got tough times ahead of us, all right? We've got a lot. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to go forward to try and answer, but this isn't something that's going to break the Saints. The culture is now way too strong for this team and for the city and for this front office. Sean Payton laid the groundwork. He laid the foundations of how a successful franchise or a successful club should operate. There's no way we're going to be going back to those days where we're wearing like paper bags over our heads. There's no way that's going to happen. So keep your heads up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. There'll be a lot of frustrations, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. Get through this. Change is inevitable. We're going to be starting a new post Drew Brees and now post Sean Payton era. You take it for good or for bad, but no matter what it ends up being, we're all Saints fans at the end of the day. Let's take a look at this comment right here. I haven't been commenting, but been listening. Every show I mention, I catch the replay. I appreciate you, Damien. As always, you're an OG here in the BG Payton podcast. Chemo, what's going on, Chemo? I'm glad I could catch you. We're just about to wrap up here, but I appreciate you dropping by. I appreciate you so much, man. You're also one of the OGs here. I appreciate you hopping in. Got B Slaughter, the commissioner, saying Eric, Benami, or Benami, however you say that last name. I had to look into him a little more, but thank you for the suggestion. I'll definitely look him up. But thank you guys so much for being a part of the BNG Breakdown podcast. Please consider donating to the podcast. I will put my Cash App name down in the comments, down in the comment section of this video, because your boy is struggling just a little bit between having to learn how to cook and mostly ordering from the app, but between ordering from the app to get us some food, and now we're having this podcast to support my platforms between Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Money is kind of a little tight. So however much you guys are willing to donate, it doesn't matter. I'll be very, very appreciative. Any large or small amount would be greatly appreciated just for us to get by. Like I said, I will put down my Cash App down in the chat below following this live stream. Please consider, or if not, it's fine. You don't have to. I really appreciate you guys just tuning in, watching the live stream, watching the podcast, and make sure you just hit that like button, you hit the share button, you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Those also help out the podcast in a big way, right? So do all those three things. Those are for free. Those are for free. They take less than 5 seconds to do. The like, the share, and the subscribe. They take less than 5 seconds to do altogether. Please share, please like, please subscribe. Thank you very much. I will see you guys next time. I will be doing more community tab posts, so make sure you watch out for those. I'm not sure if I'm going to be holding this 15 a month subscription here to Melon app until I can get my money situation right. We will see going forward, but for now, thank you guys for everything. It is a blessing being here. As always, it's black and gold until we are dead and cold. I'll see you guys next time with more news. Check out that community tab. See y'all.